Hello Zorgonians and welcome back to another YouTube video, and today we're going to be doing another story time, and I don't really have a script for this, so apologies, but I'm just going to go off my memory. So this is a story because I recently got into contact with a few YouTubers known as Zack Attack and King Pooger 94, I believe he prefers to be called Ace. Ace and Zack. So those two and I and another dude named Legend all played Left 4 Dead 2. I'll link the video and their channel is down in the description below, because I don't know if it's just because I've been doing more trendy videos or something, but we hit like 60 subscribers in like a day. That's like an extra 10 subscribers, and I know that doesn't seem like much, but it is like a dramatic increase from like 50. Anyways, so I would like to thank everyone for sticking around and watching. I don't know if it's because of my self-advertisements or my trendier videos or simply because of contact with other YouTubers, but yeah, the channel grew a lot recently. Anyways, so this story time is about hacking because Zack made a video with like 200 views about him getting hacked, and he didn't really discuss it too much, but I'm here to talk about hacking a little bit. So I don't know exactly how old I was like preteens, like 10 to 12, somewhere around there, probably younger. So I was playing with this group of people. We'll call them their real names because I don't keep in contact with any of them anymore. Their names were Keenan, Zack, and Amber, I think were the three. So I hung out with those three. Originally, I hung out with Keenan, and then he introduced me to Zack and his sister Amber. We played a lot of games, but me and Keenan didn't really like each other because we both had like this headstrong, fucked up personality, right? And I guess we didn't really get along very well. The only reason I stuck around with Keenan was because he was close friends with Zack and Amber at the time, when in reality, he was kind of just a bully. I know that sounds really stereotypical, but he was just a big bully. He was older than Zack and bigger than Zack, and a few times I heard Keenan come into Zack's house and just start beating him up and shit like that. Just a very, very violent, very disgusting individual. And I admit I didn't make the situation better because I was very stubborn and very angry back then. I mean, I joke around a lot about my anger nowadays, but back then I was just a brat. But the point is that I was friends with this guy named Keenan. So we finally had like a big blowout. I think it was, we were playing Minecraft and he was just being a dick. And I was like, fuck it, I'm not doing this shit anymore. I killed him, took all of his shit, kicked him from the server, then defriended him. A few hours later, he messages me and tells me to get into a party. I'm like, fuck you. And then Zack invites me to a party, and there's 3 people in the party. Zack, Keenan, and then some other dude. Keenan's like, invite me back to the server, give me back my shit, and give me some extra diamonds, and friend me back, or my friend here is gonna hack you. And I don't remember the dude's name. It was something Rainbow or something similar to that. And I was like, at that point, I had heard so many hacking threats. I was like, fuck it. You know what? I'm not going to bite into it. You know what? I said to him, fuck you, dude. I'm leaving. So I leave, and 5 minutes later, my internet goes out. Like, my entire router. That goes on for about 20 minutes. No one in my house can get on the internet. So finally, it comes back on. I log back into Xbox Live, and Keenan had messaged me, told you. And I was like freaking the fuck out and shit. So he invited me back to a party, and this particular party had the same, like everyone except Zack essentially. And then I was like something along the lines of, how did you do that? And they wouldn't explain it or anything. So I friended Keenan back, and there was this period of time where I begrudgingly was forced to be friends with this douchebag. After a while, I got in contact with the Rainbow dude and was like, how did you do that? And he didn't explain it very well. He essentially said, well, basically all I have to do is get someone in a party and I can kick them offline. And there was this period of time where I was just like so miserable because I had to be around Keenan. Whenever Keenan wasn't online, I loved it because I got to hang out with Zack and Amber. And that was a lot of fun. But Keenan was just a dickhead. Like, he was literally just a dickhead. I remember one time I got so depressed because they were Keenan was making me stay on past my bedtime. And yeah, I had a bedtime. Look, this was when I was younger. So Keenan made me stay on past my bedtime, and I had already taken my meds, so I was so fucking drowsy that he forced me on Survival Island World, and I had just started killing myself in game. I just kept killing myself, and he was like, "Fine, dude, you can go to bed," and I got offline. One day, I was like, "I'm done. I can't fucking take this. I love Zach and I love Amber, but I can't stick around." So I, smart enough as I was, I actually figured out slightly that with Rainbow's help, obviously, I figured out, hey, they need information from me, right? So if I don't go into a party or don't message them and just ignore them, and I change some of my internet stuff, will that work? I was basically testing if it worked. So I went into my Xbox's settings, and changed its IP address and stuff, just got a random new one, changed a few things, I don't remember exactly what, and then I defriended him again. And then Keenan messaged me maybe 20 minutes later and was like, "Why the fuck did you defriend me?" And then 20 minutes later, he invited me to a party and said, "Let's talk about this." And I was like, "I'm not taking that bait." I didn't message him, I didn't party him. Because back then, I didn't know how the system worked. So I didn't know if I had messaged him, I joined a private chat with him, anything like that. I didn't know if something like that would give them the information that he would need. Alright, so I was paranoid as fuck. I just ignored him outright. And then, the rest of the day I was just playing with other friends, and they didn't kick me offline. So they needed information specifically from me to be able to do it, right? So I realized that day that hackers are real. They're rare, but they're real. But here's the kicker. I knew how to defend myself, and that's a good thing. If you're smart, you can outsmart any hacker. But here's the kicker, even more so. I know what they did. What they did was illegal. It's called a distributed denial of service attack, otherwise known as DDoSing. DDoSing is sending a bunch of information to a router, and the said router will be too overloaded to send any information out, so it'll just shut down, kinda. It won't be able to take anything or send out any information. So I know what they did, and I know how to protect myself from it, and I also know how to do it. I haven't done it, but multiple of my friends nowadays know how to do it, and I'm actually learning how to do it myself. Not to, bully people like Keenan's friend did, but more to protect myself and my friends, because DDoSing is a terrible thing. But if you know how to do it, you not only know how to counter it and defend against it, but you also know how to do it to people that are doing it. So let's say, I don't know, my friend Jugs gets DDoSed and he can't counter it because he can't get online. I'll DDoS the DDoSer, and that will kick them offline and give us time to counter and prepare. So the moral of the story is just be smart who you call out, because you need to be able to gauge people's reactions, and you need to be able to figure out from the initial conversation if they can hack or if they can't hack or whatever. More importantly, you need to get smarter. Hacking isn't the same as DDoSing, so that's why I said in the kicker is, because DDoSing isn't really a hack. Hacking is things that can get into information and get into accounts. So for me personally, I use password generators. I use password generators that essentially make a random password, and I saved it in a text document, which isn't the safest thing in the world. It would be safer to write it down somewhere in my room, but I just don't do that. So if you want to be more secure, I would recommend using password generators. I'll link a site in the description for you to go get a random password and just put it into your more important accounts like PayPal, Amazon, that sort of thing. A lot of my accounts aren't as secure as my main accounts because I didn't use the password generator. But those ones aren't as important to me. Like, I don't know, like MyLaw, which is like a dating site. I don't care about that as much, so I didn't use a password generator. Just random things like that. But the three important things you need to have your password generators on are your social media and your email and your bank accounts and stuff like that. Like for me, it's Amazon because I hold a lot of gift cards on Amazon, so I have my password generator on it. So anyways, that's the story time for this video. If you liked the video, please rate, comment, like, and subscribe.